There's an important phrase that we use here. I think it's time you all learned it. Act as if. Do you understand what that means?
Act as though you're a top-flight expert at it. And if you continue to play this part long enough, you will become an expert. When Arnold Palmer was 10 years old and on his way to becoming the world's greatest golfer of his time, he used to pretend that he was playing in national tournaments. He would even pretend to be the sports commentator announcing that the champion, Arnold Palmer, was now getting ready to tee off. You can take a great many strokes off your golf game simply by pretending you're playing in a great tournament, and that every time you swing or putt, you're surrounded by a large gallery and the television cameras. You'll find that you take more time, line up your shots better, and swing more like the pros and less like the duffers. If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person. It goes back to what the great German poet and philosopher Goethe once said. Before you can do something, you must first be something. Before you can do what you would most like to do, you must first become the person who can do it. A woman cooking dinner has only to act like a great chef to turn out a better meal. The student who begins to act like a top student will begin to get better grades. You can even look much better by simply acting like the person you would most like to look like and be like. The secret is to get and hold fast in your mind the mental image of the person you would most like to be. Then in every situation you act and talk as you feel that person would. You make the kind of decisions you think that person would. This is the way to constantly grow into a better, more effective person. You immediately begin to act with more confidence, and confidence is the first step to accomplishment. As your accomplishments begin to grow, which they most certainly will, real confidence slowly takes the place of the part you've been playing. Now your life will not be transformed overnight. There will be no sudden miracles perhaps, but steadily, day by day, you will grow into the image you hold in your mind. If you doubt this, try it for 30 days and watch what happens. You've got nothing to lose. The time is going to pass anyway. Why not put it to work? Becoming the person you most want to become. It's the trick of the experts in every...
Act like the person you want to become. That's not fake it till you make it, by the way. This is intentional. Intentionally act like the person you want. Because when you intentionally act like the person you want to become, your brain sees you taking those actions, so your brain starts to change the way you live. When your brain sees you high-fiving yourself in the mirror, it starts to go, oh, wait a minute. Stephen loves himself. Stephen's cheering for himself. We don't beat Stephen up.
We must act the part before it can become real.
Act as if you are the fucking president of this firm. Act as if you got a 9-inch cock, okay? Act as if.
As a competitor, if you're trying to do something meaningful, if you don't have the mindset that you're the best ever, you failed already. So if you don't have the mindset that you are the best reporter ever, then you already failed. And that's been my mindset since I can remember. That will be my mindset as long as I can remember anything, that I am the best ever at what I do. And every day that I step on the basketball floor, I will strive to be that.
When you walk on that court, you have to think, I am the best guy out there. I don't care if LeBron's playing.
You want to act like the person you want to become. Now, do you know why most people don't do that? Most people don't act that way because they're overly concerned with what they think. Nobody knows who they are. But you see, we were all raised with those rules. What would they think? What would the neighbors think? I found out they don't.
Discoveries is that you become what you think about most of the time. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. More than 350,000 people have been interviewed over the years and asked. The top 10% of income earners all answered the same. They think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. And you begin to think and talk about what you want and how to get it, you begin to move rapidly towards your goals, and your goals start to move toward you. The more you think about what you want and how to get it, the more positive and optimistic you become. You set up a force field of energy that attracts people, resources, and ideas into your life to help you to achieve your goals.
The world, power goes not to the most talented, but to the most convincing. You may be gifted, noble, even wise, but if you do not act like the best, you will be treated like... Let me ask you a question not as a friend, but as a strategist. When you enter a room, what do people see? Do they see a man of worth, a presence to be respected, or do they see nothing at all? Here is a brutal truth. People do not see who you are. They see what you project. You may be brilliant, competent, kind, but if your presence does not command, it is dismissed. If your posture does not speak, your words are ignored. And if your energy does not intimidate, then your intelligence is wasted. This world does not operate on truth. It operates on illusion, and that illusion, your image, is the sword by which you either rise to power or remain invisible. The man who understands this does not beg for respect, he assumes it. He does not enter a room hoping to be liked. He enters as if he owns the air others breathe, and most tragically, even if he does not deserve this confidence, he is given it. That's the disease of perception. It is not fair. It does not reward virtue. It rewards theater. You've seen it, haven't you? The mediocre man who walks like a king, the loud fool who becomes a leader, the charming fraud who wins loyalty, and meanwhile, the quiet genius sits in the corner, waiting to be noticed, assuming the world is just. It is not. Perception is power because perception is reality. People do not dig deep. They do not investigate. They believe what they see. If you carry yourself as if you are powerful, they will treat you like you are. If you act unsure, even for a second, they will smell weakness and devour you. Power is not just earned, it is performed. The man who walks slowly, speaks selectively, and holds eye contact without fear. He is mistaken for a master, even if he is nothing more than an apprentice. Why? Because we instinctively follow the cues of dominance. We are wired for it. We're still animals, cloaked in suits and screens, pretending we're rational. You may think, but what if I fake it? What if I'm not truly confident, and I say good? That's how every empire starts. The act is the beginning of the transformation. When you carry yourself as if you are the best, when you move like the leader, when you speak like the man who cannot be challenged, people respond. Not to your truth, but to your performance. And with each response, your illusion becomes real. The greatest men in history understood this. Julius Caesar didn't just conquer Gaul. He looked like a man who was destined to rule Rome. Napoleon wasn't tall, but he stood like a giant. Even Machiavelli himself, he was not noble by birth, but when he wrote, kings listened. Why? Because he wrote with the voice of command. So when you enter a room, stop shrinking. When you speak, do not soften your words. When you look at others, do not look up at them. Look through them. There are rules of dominance embedded in the human psyche, and those who know them play the game from the shadows. Those who don't become pawns. The lie you present, if done well, becomes a truth over time. People will begin to repeat it. They'll say, he's sharp, he's decisive, he must know something we don't. And they'll treat you better than you deserve, until, eventually, you do deserve it. You are what you project. That is the cruel law of perception. And if you reject this law, if you insist on being authentic, if you demand that people see your inner goodness, your quiet nobility, your humble intentions, you will be ignored, out, maneuvered, and ruled over by those who never even learned what you know, because they learned something more powerful, not how to be, but how to appear. not how to earn, but how to command. Not how to wait for the crown, but how to wear it before it's ever offered. Confidence is a weapon in this same style next. There is a reason the world bows to the confident man even when he has nothing to offer, because confidence is not a trait. It is a weapon, and in the war for power, those who know how to wield it win, while the hesitant, the uncertain, the too thoughtful are quietly erased from history. People don't follow competence, they follow certainty. The man who speaks with confidence even when he is wrong will almost always defeat the man who hesitates even when he is right. Understand what that means. It means you can be less qualified, less intelligent, less skilled, but if you carry yourself with ruthless self-belief, the crowd will follow you. And the frightening part, the crowd will